What's going on, everybody? You think outlaw biker clubs fall apart because of cops, crackdowns, or RICO cases? Think again. Because sometimes the deadliest blow doesn't come from a rival gang, or a raid, or a bullet in the dark. Sometimes the damage comes from the inside, and no story proves that more than the rise and collapse of one man inside one of America's most feared biker clubs. This is the story of Jimmy D, the meth cook who built an empire, the brother who became a target, and the outlaw who walked away from the brotherhood he once swore to die for. Let's get into it. The pagan who powered an empire. His brothers called him the most pagan in the world. For years, Jimmy D cooked the meth that fueled the club's empire pure, potent, profitable. Philadelphia was their stronghold, and Jimmy was one of the men who made it feel untouchable. But then came the betrayal. Locked in a prison cell, Jimmy learned that fellow pagans had secretly sold him out. For $10,000, the Philadelphia mob was given permission to kill him. The brotherhood he fought for, bled for, had marked him for death. What does a man do when loyalty becomes a price tag, when the code collapses, when the only people he trusted decide he's worth more dead than alive? Jimmy D chose survival, and in doing so, he delivered a blow the club never saw coming. Early life. And the pull of the outlaw world. Before the meth labs, before the patched-in meetings, before the violence, Jimmy was just a college kid working the night shift at a gas station. At 3 a.m., there are only two kinds of people on the road, cops and outlaws. Night after night, the pagans rolled in after the bars closed, loud, drunk, and larger than life. Jimmy got to know them, then he got to ride with them, then he got to party with them. And in the 70s, the parties were wild. In Jimmy's words, if there wasn't group sex, I never would have joined the pagans. Maybe it was the thrill. Maybe it was the danger. Maybe it was the desire to belong to something bigger. Either way, by the time most guys his age were choosing careers, Jimmy had already chosen the pagans. He embraced the code, the secrecy, the violence. The club didn't seek attention, didn't build clubhouses, didn't chase public approval. They lived underground. Proudly, they called themselves one-percenters, outlaws by choice, bound to their own rules and no one else's. For a decade, Philadelphia was pagan turf. Rivals like the Warlocks, the Breed, and the Wheels of Soul were shoved aside. To ride with the pagans was to accept a life where fights weren't rare, they were routine. And Jimmy loved it. He talked about his jacket like it wasn't clothing, but a record of everything he survived. The brotherhood felt solid, unbreakable, or so he thought. Rise of the Meth King. By the late 1970s, Jimmy wasn't just a soldier, he was an asset, the man who cooked the meth. He learned from mob-connected chemists, mastering a recipe no pagan before him ever had. Soon, he became the official cooker for the Philadelphia chapter, producing what became known as Pagan Purple. So pure it became the club's trademark. Jimmy made the product. The Mother Club cut it, diluted it, and moved it up and down the East Coast. The more meth Jimmy cooked, the more power the pagans gained, and the more valuable he became. But value brings danger, and in the outlaw world, power attracts enemies. War, with the mob and with the angels. Two names stood above the rest, the Philadelphia Mafia and the Hells Angels. In 1981, the mob tried to impose a street tax on the pagans' meth trade. They demanded a cut. Jimmy refused. Instead of paying, he kidnapped two mob associates. When one tried to escape near a group of police officers, Jimmy reacted. The incident sent shockwaves through Philadelphia's underworld. How did he walk free? Corruption connections, cash. The message to the mob was clear. The pagans would not bow. But the real threat wasn't outside the club. It was inside the betrayal. In 1982, everything changed. From behind bars, Jimmy learned that three pagans, the same brothers he trusted with his life, had given the mob permission to kill him $10,000. That was the price of his life. The betrayal broke him in a way no fight ever could. He made his choice. He cooperated. He provided details on the club's structure, meth operations, internal leadership. His testimony helped build major federal cases that hit the Pagans Mother Club hard to law enforcement. He was a rare window into a secret world. To the pagans, he was dead to them. The ultimate outlaw sin. A rat. Jimmy knew what that meant. A hit list. A target on his back for life. But he walked away anyway. Aftermath, and a legacy written in contradiction. Jimmy D vanished from the outlaw world. He left the brotherhood behind, burned bridges, and watched from the outside as the club he once powered struggled through indictments and internal chaos. Some pagans blamed him for the damage. Others blamed the leadership that sold him out. Either way, Jimmy's story became a warning, whispered in clubhouse corners, spoken only when the doors were shut. The meth cook who made them rich. The member who was betrayed, the informant who helped take them down. Was he a survivor, a traitor, both? That depends on who tells the story. But one fact remains. In the outlaw world, loyalty is everything. And once it breaks, there's no putting it back together.